interviewing you was going to be long because there's so much to talk about with you, more than maybe anybody on the planet for me. So we've spent the first show trying to get to this point. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so delighted to have our guest with me this evening. I'm going to sound almost sarcastic. I'm going to speak in superlatives. I'm going to speak from my heart. I'm going to tell the truth to the best of my ability. And some of you may understand it. Some of you may not. But for me, and making comedy, Robert James George Patton, also known as Uncle Bobby, also known as Bobby, also known as Rob, was sort of ground zero for me and probably for Kenny, though I don't like speaking for Kenny. And what does that mean? Kenny and I, when we were kids, we ran around Toronto with this guy shooting a little video. It was almost like a home video, but we cut it together and it became a feature film that's been lost in the complications of life, but it was called The Last Days of Toronto. Bobby is sort of like my muse in real life, comedically. I don't even think he knows that, but he is. And a lot of people ask Bob, where did you meet Spenny and Kenny? Who did you meet? And I want you to tell us about that just to start.
Well, great. Thank you for having me, Spencer. By the way, my new nickname is Dr. 10-inch, which, was given to me by my lady friends.
Dr. 10-inch, thank you.
I actually met you in high school. So we are talking in can I say how old we are?
Yeah.
Late 70s. We had mutual friends that we hung out. I played hockey at Forest Hill. I was on the 1980-81 midget champion Carhartt jeans. And we met then, 15, 16 years of age. But I knew Kenny's brother, Aaron, the doctor, the successful one in the family, who
you had to say that. You couldn't resist. Anyways, go ahead.
He'd come to all the parties. He would sit there and he never touched anything, never drank anything, never touched anything. And we all laughed and said, what are you going to be a doctor or something? And he became a doctor. So there you go.
So describe those early days before Last Days of Toronto, when Kenny and I and you were hanging out a fair bit, I'm sure smoking drugs and drinking and all that stuff. And I recall we were grooming you for some kind of comedic celebrity. Does that ring a bell? Do you have any Fatso's, the hamburger place?
In fact, it does. Now you have to understand, people, that at the time there was no such thing as what we call a budget. The budget was, would you like cheese on the burger and fries and the drink that I'm buying you? And the answer, of course, was, hey, I love cheese, and for the extra 15 cents, it was worth it. But I had nothing. I was living up at the top of the city. We had just bought a condo there, my dad and my brother and I. So you picked me up, you dragged me all the way down to that old area, St. Clair and Caledonia, not Caledonia, the Oakwood.
Vaughan.
Yeah, Vaughan Road and St. Clair, correct. And told me about that. I was in contention with 3 or 4 other people that you were going to do. And I was all excited because, a movie camera and me, hey, let's get busy, people. All right, time's a wasting. Unbeknownst to me, there was nobody else. You had no budget. Nothing. You had enough to charge the camera. But what you had was a dream. And that dream was the beginning of what we have today. And I'm glad I could be a small part of it.
Talk to me as if you're not talking to me, but to someone who knows Kenny and Spenny from the TV show, but they don't have intimate knowledge of them as friends. How you would describe both of us individually and tell the truth, because it's all about the truth, man. There's no.
It is, and the truth is that people are going to be shocked, but you were one of the most popular people in high school. You had gone to, before you ended up at the high school, you had gone to a private school.
Yeah.
You could play a guitar, which immediately was, heads and tails above everybody else. You were funny. You could out party most of us. You drank like a fish. Um, and yet you were humble. You weren't arrogant about this.
Okay, that's a
Kenny,
good, now Kenny, yes.
Kenny was
If you can
loud.
segue successfully from humble to Kenny without saying he isn't, or it's the opposite, I'll be interested to hear.
Let me make something perfectly clear before we go any further. I love that man. I love you, and I love him with all my heart.
I know, I'm not saying.
It's because of you guys that I stand here before you, promoting my Patreon page, Uncle Bobby.
You look like a corpse, dude, like you're not standing. But anyways, go ahead.
He was funny. He was with us for the first little bit. He had to live in the shadow of his brother because remember, his brother was our age. He was younger. So we didn't party in the same circles right away. It took a couple of years towards the end of high school where he started to assimilate. And because of that, because remember, when I was 16, he was still in diapers for the most part. Although the doctor fixed that. Got him better. Just loud and gregarious. He was
loud. I don't remember him being loud, but maybe I'm wrong. My memory's terrible. What?
When Kenny would get started, he was. You're right. Okay, he wasn't loud. Anyways,
but when he was drunk, and it didn't happen often when we were younger. When he was drunk, he was really funny. There were a couple of nights where he was on, and I've seen him on stage when we're on stage together, but this was like a drunk young Kenny Hotz just going for it. But anyways, that was a long time ago. So let's talk about the last days of Toronto. I think I'm sure I'm missing a lot of stuff, but we don't want to get
to. Oh my goodness! Just the drive up and down the major streets with the camera rolling and sneaking in, getting permission to go into a soon-to-be demolished exhibition stadium, and to be able to run around the bases one more time, which was a dream of mine. To be able to run.
What kind of direction did you get from us? The funniest stuff to me was the stuff that you improvised that we could never write in a million years. But what was that experience like? I can't really remember, to be honest. I know Kenny was shooting a lot.
Kenny, okay, Bobby, listen, here's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be amazing. And he would, go talk to those kids. There's 400 kids on the other side of that wall. Yes. They want to hear Uncle Bobby talk. I was very intimidated by both of you because, this was a real movie camera, right? No, I mean, it was Super 8 or Super Villain or Super whatever it was,
Super
16
VHS.
mil or something.
It was a video camera. It was.
All I know is when that red light came on, it was business, baby. And
do you remember where Bobby Velvet even came from? Because I really don't, other than you at parties drunk pretending to be Sinatra or something like that.
If you remember, at Kenny's house, there was a living room and a couch, and then there was a railing overlooking the railing. You could see the couch. Yeah. And I just remember I had either been drinking something, which was pretty much a given. He just came out of my head. Bobby Velvet reminds me of Jerry Lewis when he played the professor, right? Mm-hmm. There was Buddy Love.
Yes. Could you explain relatively quickly the plot of The Last Days of Toronto?
Uncle Bobby was a bit of a loser, a bit of an outcast. Pretended that he loved everybody.
When he was a baby, he went to go see Queen Elizabeth at a Loblaws in Scarborough.
I believe it was
footage of it. There was an assassination attempt on the Queen. The bullet lanced the baby's head, redirecting itself and saving the Queen's life. So he became a celebrity in a local sort of Toronto way as a baby. And when we catch up to the older Bobby Velvet that you call a loser, nobody cares about it. But he's worn out the baby Bobby saving the Queen thing. No one cares anymore. I see him as something I can relate to, a dying celebrity who's just grasping on whatever fame is left. All right. Well, how's the Patreon going?
It's going great, guys. Patreon, Uncle Bobby starts at $3 a month. It's a steal.
I think you're one of the funniest people on the planet, personally. That's me. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that was RJ, the first episode of what I think is going to be many in this interview. So good night, everybody. And what we're going to do, Bobby, we're just going to wait. We'll look at your belly. Okay?
Okay.
Tell everybody what happened, because this is so strange. If anybody else on the planet, I would either hate it that it happened, or I'd be so happy for them. With you, it's such a mixed bag of emotions. Why don't you tell people what happened?
Come here, we can film the third installment of this Rubberman. Me and you, and post it online. What do you say about that?